host of the Gridiron.
We got to start getting healthy. Now, of course, we're talking New York Giants and injuries. They just kind of go hand in hand, right? But we're talking about Andrew Thomas. But we're also talking Bernsey. He was kind of he had a very good game last night. Very, very good game last night. We're going to go over some of the stats and all that stuff and everything just a few minutes here. But Bernsey had a great game, but he was kind of hobbling after the game was over. So, hopefully he'll be ready to go against the Eagles. But the dude's playing his heart out. But hopefully they give him like the whole week off or something. Right, so we'll have to wait and see. But Andrew Thomas going in for an MRI on obviously today, Monday. Obviously, it's Tuesday right now. But so hopefully, he could be out for a while. So I don't know who we're going to have at left tackle. Sure, we'll keep Illuminor at right tackle because he's doing a very good job there. But I don't know. We're going to have Zunu coming in. We're going to have Evan Neal. So we'll have to wait and see. But, unfortunately, Andrew Thomas getting an MRI on his foot after rough Giants showing. Andrew Thomas's game-changing penalty, and that one too. Yep. Legally downfield. And a huge play for the Giants. And it's like, what are you doing? It's just like, it's just like amazing. Like whenever there was a big play, it was always against the Giants. A long touchdown, or one got wiped out by a penalty, field goals, interceptions, just stuff that takes points off the board and all. It was all went against the Giants. The star left tackle is headed for imaging on his foot. So, once again, there's more problems with ankles and feet and all that stuff. So, to determine that a closer look was needed, he was limping just to get back to the huddle Sunday during the fourth quarter and admitted afterward that he was not great. Let's see here. I don't know exactly what it is, so we'll see what they say, Thomas said. They said we need an MRI to see exactly what's going on. Thomas allowed 2 sacks. How often does that happen? Including one on the final drive. He said, I was fighting, Thomas said. Yeah, he was fighting, but is he doing more harm than good? It was kind of like the same thing last year after like the first drive of the season, right? Block kick, he's running down, pulls his hamstring, and then he continued to play, continue to make it worse and worse and worse and worse until they pulled him out. So every drive he was out there, he probably extended the injury about another week or so by playing. So Thomas had 2 ankle surgeries earlier in his career and missed 7 games last season due to a hamstring injury. Most relevantly, he did not play in Week 5 of 2021 season due to a foot injury. His ankles and his feet, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Giants have had the same 5 offensive linemen play every snap this season, which is a small miracle, but unfortunately, it looks like that's going to come to an end. They lose Thomas. The options are moving right tackle Jermaine Illuminor on the left side and inserting either Joshua Zunu or Evan Neal, 2 bench former starters, or having one of those 2 start in Thomas's place. Either way, Thomas is one of the most irreplaceable Giants. Yep. And that's even after his poor game Sunday that included a illegal man downfield penalty to wipe out a 56-yard completion to Darius Slayton. Not good enough, Thomas said after his performance. It was an RPO, run-pass option. A similar play happened last week, and they didn't call it. Sometimes it's just 50-50. So, but also here, what we have is Giants could potentially be without 2 stars to face the Eagles. Not good. Suffering a disappointing loss to the Bengals was one thing, but the fact that the Giants had no business dropping to 2-4 is enough to make people pretty dang upset. This is a good football team, but the lack of consistent execution for both sides of the ball is infuriating. Well, you knew the defense. It was a real good chance, right? Lack of consistency. You knew with the defense because you got a new system being implemented, right? But you got a bunch of young babies, right, in the secondary. You got third-year Flott, second-year Banks. You got first-year Phillips, first-year Newman. Belton's third year. Then you got Pinnock. He's still on his rookie deal. You got you got 6 guys. If you put Trey Hawkins in there, Javarius Owens, McCann, I mean, you got almost 10 guys, like all almost like the rookie deals. You got a bunch of young guys learning. So you knew there was going to be some hiccups every now and then. And unfortunately, when those hiccups happen, they're going to result in points. Or if not points, they're going to result in long gainers. Right? So you knew that was going to happen. As time goes by, if you keep the same guys, you keep the same coach, the same defensive system and all, things should start getting better and better and better as time goes by. But it's only going to get better the more they play, right? It's just experience, right? Snaps. That's what's going to get better. So you knew that, the inconsistency. But now injuries are piling up for Brian Daboll. Stud left tackle Andrew Thomas is battling a foot injury and is undergoing an MRI. With him clearly in a ton of discomfort, it's feeling quite likely that he could end up missing some time, including the upcoming Week 7 meeting with the Eagles. That'd be a brutal blow for the Big Blue offensive line. Yipper. But Brian Burns and Andrew Thomas are both banged up for the Giants. Should Thomas not be able to suit up, we'd certainly see some shifting up front. This could open the door for Joshua Zudu to start at left tackle in place of Thomas, or could Evan Neal, who lost his starting right tackle spot to Jermaine Illuminor, jump in until Thomas is back healthy. As for the defensive front, Burns looked sensational against the Bengals, which came after a strong performance versus the Seahawks too. So we're starting to get a little bit of bang for the buck. And also another thing too is that Burns has been he's been banged up all year long. Yeah, and he's starting to you start to see some results. You can start to see why a couple of those plays last night. It's like, all right, now I see why we paid the dude $28 million a year. It's the going rate. It is what it is. But he looked pretty good. He really, really looked good. As for the defensive front, Burns looked sensational, but however, the standout pass rusher continues to be plagued by a groin issue. The first popped up earlier this campaign. This is also going to be something to monitor the rest of the week ahead of the Eagles and Giants taking the field. It says here, as for Brian Burns, that dude is hurting, and he played his butt off. My man was seriously limping after the game, and he shared some thoughts on his groin that I will keep between us. But don't ever question Burns' heart and will to win. That dude leaves it on the field and takes losses at home. Not bad. And takes losses. Oh. Let's go to X. Takes losses hard. Glad the Giants have him. Me too. Yeah. I can certainly say why the Giants made them what they did. With Burns in a ton of pain, things are only made more difficult with Kayvon Thibodeau on injured reserve after undergoing wrist surgery earlier this month. Azeez Ojulari stepped in and was unstoppable versus the Bengals, but behind him, the depth is thin, with Boogie Basham being the next man up. You got Tolman Fox, Boogie Basham. I mean, it's like, you're not getting, you're not going to get, the production, shall we say, from Boogie Basham. right? That you would get with a Burns or a Thibodeau, right? With the Giants at 2-4 in the year, it feels like this upcoming tilt with the Eagles is going to be one they have to come out on top or stay in the postseason hunt. Dropping to 2-5 and then heading to Pittsburgh for a prime time battle with the Steelers is going to be quite difficult. The good news is that Malik Neighbors should be back against the Eagles. The bad news, however, is that Burns and Thomas may have to watch this one from the sidelines. Unfortunately, that's, but that's one of the things. That's why it's so important to have, like a rotation at the, like the NASCAR package or whatever we had. You can't ever have too many edge rushers, because if one goes down, you bring somebody else in, right? Now, if you got two guys there, I mean, you don't want to spend obviously $300 million on 6 edge rushers, right? You just keep running, I get it, but that's why it never hurts, to draft a defensive lineman early on, right, in the draft, whether it's a defensive tackle, right, whatever, or somebody from the outside, whatever. It never hurts, because a lot of times, guys get injured, right, and then you bring guys in, or you bring guys in off the side to keep guys fresh, which is huge. But you also have it where too that you can't pay everybody, so you might pay 1 or 2 guys, and then this guy's contract's up, and so you're either going to pay him too, or you got to let him go. So if you let him go, you got to replace him with somebody. So you don't want to have we got one nice edge rusher. Well, what if he gets injured? Then you have nobody. Then you're really screwed, right? So that's why, especially next season. I was going to say in the draft, but it looks like kind of like in the draft, we might be looking for a quarterback. But I mean, either second round or, in free agency, I mean, get some. The problem is in free agency to get somebody, who's a good rusher of the quarterback, whether it's an edge rusher or a defense, somebody who can push the pocket or something like that. In free agency, it's going to cost you. Getting them in the draft is not going to cost you, unless it's like a first rounder. But I mean, the way things are looking with Daniel Jones, and I have a real hard time believing that. If Shane and Daboll are back next season, I really have a hard time believing that they're going to keep trying to ride it out with Daniel Jones. I have a hard time believing that. So, Kayvon's out, that we know. Thomas, I mean, if he's hobbling around, there's no way he's playing there. I'd be shocked if he's going to be playing next week. Absolutely shocked. Burnsy with the groin. I mean, same thing there. I mean, it just might be just really a lot of trouble. But hopefully Malik comes back. Well, that would be huge, because we're going to need to score some points. That's for sure against the Eagles, because they're going to want to have Saquon go off on us. That's for sure. That's for darn sure. Giants are going to have their hands full trying to keep Saquon corralled, right?